Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn how data is stored in primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Alright? Now, while learning about the data types or variables, we had seen this. We know that these are the primitive data types and these, along with many others, are non-primitive data types. Alright? Now, let us take the example of int to explain the concept of data storage. Alright? Now, let me go to this. Here, in the main method, I'll say int a is equal to 13. Alright? Int a is equal to 13. And in the next line, I'll say int b is equal to 24. Alright. Now let me print a and I get 13. Let me print b and you can see that I get 24. Correct? So what is happening here is the value 13 is being stored directly in a, and here value 24 is being stored directly in b. So in primitive data types, the values are stored directly in the variables. Okay. Now here I'll say let me say b is equal to 22. Alright, b is equal to 22. So now I want to print b. So when I run it, I get 22. So here I've changed the value from 24 to 22. Correct? From 24 to 22. Now let me delete this. And here let me say a. Alright, let me say a. And now when I run it, I get 13. So I stored 13 in a. And in the next line, I'm saying b is equal to a. That means the value 13 will be stored directly in b. And I'm printing it out. Okay, I'm printing it out here. So now, if I say b is equal to 5, when I run it, I get 5 as a result. So even though I've stored 13 in b, in the next line I'm changing it to 5 and I'm printing it out here. Alright, so this is about primitive data types. Alright, now let me take the example of array and explain how data is stored in non-primitive data types. Alright, so let me minimize this and let me create an array int x. Alright, int x is equal to, and in the bracket let me have only 3 values and 43. Alright, 43. Now if I want to print this value, I have to say x and in bracket 0. Correct? So when I hit run, you can see I get 21, and if I say 1, I get 33. So I'm using index numbers to print the elements of the array. Correct? Now here I'll say int y. So I'll create one more array. And I'll say is equal to x. Okay, I'll say is equal to x. I'm creating a new array, new variable, and I'm storing whatever is stored in x in y2. Okay, so now let me change this to y. Alright, I want to see what is stored in location 1 of y. So let me hit run. And you can see I get 33. And here let me say 2, and when I hit run I get 43. Alright, so now till here you have understood. I'm assuming that. Now let me do something here. Let me change the value. Alright, y of 2. Okay, I want to change the value which is in third position to 51. Okay, 51. So I have 43 stored in y2, which I want to change to 51. Okay, so now see, y of 2 should get me 51 when I hit run. So let us see if I get 51. Yes, 51. So I've changed the value of 43 in y array from 43 to 51. Okay, so I created an X array, stored 3 values, 3 elements. Then I said y is equal to X, and so the same values get stored here too. And now I have changed the value 43 to 51. Okay, now here is the interesting part. Let me delete this. Or let it be there. I will say X here. Okay, I will say X here. And when I hit run, you can see that I get 51. Alright, I was supposed to get 43, correct? Because I am printing the value which is in second position, okay, in the second index number position of X array. Even then I am getting 51, correct? I was supposed to get 43, but I am getting 51. That is because in non-primitive data types, the values are not directly stored in variables. Okay, so what happens here is something like this. Okay, so this doesn't get stored directly in the variable, okay, in the array X. So this would be, X would be storing something like 0x73424x, okay, and b something value. Alright, now what this is the location where this is stored. Okay, now this is the address where the array is stored. This is the memory location where this array is stored. Okay, and this memory location is what gets stored in X and not these values directly. Okay, now when I say int y is equal to X, what is getting stored in y is the memory location of X. Okay, so this is getting stored here in y. So now both y and X are pointing to this memory location where these values are stored. So now when I change the value of a variable or element of y, it is this which is getting changed, the value that is stored in X array. Okay, because both y and X are pointing to a location where these values are stored. So if I change this, this is what is getting changed. Okay, it is not that y is getting changed, it is X which is getting changed. Alright, so now let me do it one more time. I'll say y of 0. Alright, I want y of 0 to be 2. Okay, I want y of 0 to be 2, and I will print the x of 0. Okay, I will print the x of 0, and you can see I get 2 as a result. This is because even though I am changing the value of y, the value of x is getting changed because both x and y point to the same location, which is this, and in here is this array which is stored. Okay, so this is how data is stored in non-primitive data types. Okay, now let me delete this. Let me delete this and let it be there. Let this be there. So int x equal to this, int y equal to this. Now I will change this. Okay, I will modify this. I will say new int, and in the bracket I'll say 3. Alright, I'm creating an array with 3 zeros. So you know how to create this too, correct? We have learned this. So now let me print out y of 0, we should get us 0, y of 1 is 0, and y of 2 is 0. So I've created an array y which has 3 zeros. Alright. So now let me say x is equal to y. Alright. X is equal to y. So now let me print y of 2. It is 0. Let me print x of 2. And it is also 0. Okay. So now what has happened is I've created an array, alright, of 3 elements which is stored in this location. This is a random number that I pulled, but the memory location looks something like this. Okay. So which is stored here. These 3 values are there. And next I've created a new array, blank array, which has 3 elements which are all 0. And in the next line I'm saying x is equal to y. X is equal to y. So now in x, the 3 zeros are stored and not this. Okay. So after this line, after executing this line, we cannot get these values. There is no possibility to get these values. These are just stored in the memory, but we cannot use it. Alright, we cannot use it. But the thing about Java is there is something called as garbage collector. Alright, and these are garbage. Alright, these are garbage values. What the garbage collector does is it scans for the memory which is not used. Alright, which is not used, and it deletes them. Alright, so we have garbage collector in Java. In other programs we have to manually do the work, but in Java we have Java garbage collector which searches for memories which are not used or accessible, and it deletes it. Alright, so after this line, after we execute this line, we cannot get these values. Alright, so all we have is a blank array. So x is blank, y is also blank, and you can add you can add numbers to it. Alright, apart from that, this is of no use. Okay, so this is how data is stored. Data is stored in primitive and non-primitive data types. So in primitive data types, values are stored directly. Here it is referred, or it uses reference of a memory location. Okay, and in memory location is the data that we store. So multiple variables point to same location. Okay, so I hope you have understood this topic. I want you to go ahead and practice it. Alright, so yes, we are at the end of this series, Java for Absolute Beginners. I hope you have understood all the topics in this series. These are the next steps that you need to take so that you become good in Java programming. Alright? You have to practice the basics. You have to practice and practice again. Alright? It is not enough if you watch the video once and practice it once. You have to keep on practicing till you have become well versed with the basics. Okay? Now, what you have to do is you have to watch other Java videos on YouTube. Okay? So there are various videos done by other creators on YouTube. I want you to watch those too, because my method of teaching will be different and others' way of teaching will be different, and the topics that others teach will be somewhat different or will be extra than what I have taught you. Alright, so you have to watch them so that once again all the basics is taught and different examples are taken to explain you the concept. And once you watch multiple videos by multiple creators, you will become very good at Java. Okay? And to use the concepts that you have learned, you have to do some projects. Okay? If you just go to YouTube or Google and search for some Java projects, you will get a lot of results. Just start with a very small project and go up the ladder. And once you follow these 3 steps, I am sure that you will crack any interview on Java. Alright? So that's it for this series. I'll see you in the next series, a different series. Till then, take care and thank you for watching.